How's it going, everybody? I wanted to make this video because we've had a lot of conversations about talents in the Discord, in the YouTube comments, and on the live stream chats. And there's a lot that goes into talents. So in this video, we're going to break down how the talent structure works. I think there's a little bit of confusion there. There's a lot of benefit to getting the rarity up and getting your talents up, but there's a huge drawback, especially if you are like 99% of this community that doesn't want to spend any money at all. There's a huge drawback. Literally can ruin your account for months. So also, after that, I'm going to rate the best talents for what I think are the best characters in the game for pushing PvE. These are characters that I've used to push all the way to the last 3 zones of the Heroic campaign, maxing out all my dungeons, and getting to that 3k honor quite easily, and doing all that on a punch across. I never waited till I was like 3 levels ahead to punch down on PvE stuff, because that's just boring. I'm actually going to be doing that now because I pushed a bunch of PvP, but up till this point, we haven't done that at all. So hopefully this video helps you out a lot. If it does, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy the video, and I'll see you in a little bit. So guys, let's have a quick discussion about talents and the way talents work. I know there's a lot of content creators who've talked about this ad nauseum, but I just want to break down numerically what it means to pick the wrong talent and how long that's going to absolutely ruin your account for, at least ruin that mini in your account, almost making some of them borderline useless. So let me find one of the few characters I still have unevolved as far as rarity goes. So let's get these skeletons. They're rarely in the grid for whatever reason. You can see I have 2 out of 3 stars on them right here. Now if we were to scroll over, we could then see the talents. You'll see that I have the green locked, the blue locked, and the purple locked. Once we increase the rarity, that's when we will unlock these slots. To put that into perspective, if we head on over to the store, we're going to see that just to unlock it costs 90 gold. To get that first rarity upgrade is going to be 270 gold. That's going to get us that green border, and then a talent will appear in this grid for 250 gold. So total, that's what, 520 gold? So that is your first talent. Now that is the talent that you want to do the right decision on. So hopefully this video is going to help you and catch you before you make some mistakes on these very crucial minis. Because I know when I started playing, I got super excited. And one of the most important minis in the game, I made an absolutely dumb decision on. Blizzard, which for whatever reason has not been in the grid since forever, I took Brittle Ice. And now I am absolutely screwed because what I want is Cold Snap. Cold Snap is the MVP at the higher ranks of PvP. So I'm kind of screwed without that talent, and hopefully we can help you guys avoid that. So as you can see, I still have the blue border locked. Now to upgrade Blizzard, you see I'm 8/10 the way there. I needed to buy that piece 10 times in the store. Now, not exactly 10 times, because you could have the situation where the piece shows up as a uncommon unlock, and that's going to give you 4 stars for the cost of 3. It can be blue. It'll give you, I think it's 14 stars for the cost of, or sorry, 15 stars for the cost of 14. It's some sort of conversion like that. Basically, when you see a green, you're saving the cost of 1 star. When you see a blue in the grid, you're saving the cost of 1 star. When you see a purple, it's the same thing. So you could see one of those, but it's still going to cost you upwards to 900 for the blue, plus 250 to buy the second talent. Now on a free-to-play budget, that's a lot. It's going to take a long time. And that doesn't even include the time and this cost of going through your grid as is. Because you're going to do other units as you're going. You're not just going to be able to wait for, in my case, I can't just wait for Blizzard to show up. I'll be waiting here forever. I'll have a huge gold stock, but my account will be stagnant. So you can't just wait for the talent. You can't just, reset the grid ad nauseum because you do have those charges. And then, if you make the mistake on 2 of them, and I do think I have one that I made a mistake on 2 of them, I believe it was, the Ogre Mage, right? This one was heartbreaking. So the first one I got was the Bloodlust. He gets Bloodlust when he does an ally. This is fun. It's very powerful. But I found that I'm mostly using the Ogre Mage with my Grimage, so it doesn't really make sense. And then I grabbed Ignite. I made a mistake. I thought this was the Frost Firebolt, and it's not. So the power of Frost Firebolt is PvP. It lets you slow down range units so they don't reach you. It lets you slow down these tank units. It gives you time to bring in more gold while you're waiting for that enemy to reach your Ogre Mage. So this is a really strong talent that I wish I had, but now I have to get it all the way to the purple unlock. You see I'm 13 out of 25, but put that in perspective, that's at maximum. Normally, it's not going to be much less. 90 times 25, that's on the screen. I'm not going to do the fast math in my head, plus an additional 250 gold. That ramps up like crazy. But there's more than that. There's more than just the cost there, right? Because there's the upgrade cost as well. where you need those cores. So if you make the wrong mistake on the green, then you have to have the rare cost. So let me go ahead and find green that's going to be upgraded. Let me see. It's in info. Hit the upgrade button. I only have 3 left. Now I've spent a lot on the game, right? I've gotten some of these cores from offers, but more than that, because I pushed my account so quickly, I've gotten a lot of these cores from doing these heroic campaigns and from beating the original campaign. And I was a beta player, so I got some of those from the 2 seasons that I was a part of for the beta. So it's a huge time loss. We're talking upwards to, on a free-to-play, whatever that gold is, we had 520 for the first, 900, 1150 for the second. If you don't have the Arc-like and you're only getting 400 gold, 800 gold a week, and you gotta wait for the grid, that's such a giant issue. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and talk about what I think are the very best minis to try and help you avoid that. The very best minis with the very best talents. And at the end, I'm going to talk about 2 minis in particular that as new players, you should hard farm, whether that be through the grid. Whenever you see them, you auto buy them from the grid. Or if you see them when you're getting these sigils, you're getting these troop choices. If you see them there, you target them no matter what. All right? Because there's also other benefits to doing rarities and talents. Every talent you get gives you 1 level on your character. Well, once you get to level 14, 15, getting levels through experience is extremely difficult, but the levels are more impactful. It's like leveling raises your power exponentially almost, is what it feels like anyway. So that's what we're going to do, and let's do it right now. Let's start off by talking about our Alliance minis. So there's actually quite a lot of good Alliance minis, and there's a little bit of variety you can choose in the talents to have just as much success, all right? So for the Huntress, she is definitely an S-tier character. The way she can absolutely cripple through squads, cripple through ranged opponents, and just rip through towers, she's a very valuable unit. And she gets more valuable when she has that stealth/ambush, so we do want to get the Shadow Meld talent on her. I started off with using the initial hit does more damage talent on her. Didn't like that whatsoever. She wasn't one-shotting Ogre Mages. She wasn't one-shotting Gargoyles or anything like that. With the ambush, she's protected more. It's just a lot better for her PvE, PvP, 100% Shadow Meld. Then we have the Save Pilot. Now, the Save Pilot, there's two trains of thought here, okay? There's Coming in Hot, which I think can be situationally better for PvP only. Only PvP, all right? This is when you and your opponent, it's head-to-head, it's coming down to the wire, you're watching your gold tick up to that 3, and you can't afford the deploy time. This is great. It does little extra damage. It's really good for that situation. For PvE, Gnomish Cloaking Device is a billion times better. You are guaranteed to get that second hit off, and when you're playing against the AI, obviously it's easier to manipulate what's happening in the battle, right? So I 100% suggest everybody start by getting the Gnomish Cloaking Device talent on the Safe Pilot. And I know it's still going to wait till the end of the video, but let's give a little spoiler now. She's going to be one of the 2 minis that as soon as you see her in the store, try and get her to green, get that first talent. It'll change your game. It'll change your campaign pushing. It'll change your dungeon pushing. It'll even change your PvP to a certain extent. Moving on over to A tier. So we got the Footman Soldiers. Shield Bash is just really good for them. They're an okay unit. They're very slow, they're very costly, but when they start doing stuns, they're really powerful. So Shield Bash is definitely the best there. For the Worgen, Premeditation, increasing the ambush damage by 50%. This means he does one-shot chests out the gate, so you're going to immediately get chests when you pop them on there. He's also going to win exchanges against enemy Huntresses, so you can use a 3-cost Worgen to beat a Huntress. Same with the Ogre Mages. Same with the Flame Walkers. He'll go ahead and get rid of them as well before they flame him to death. So this gives him a big edge on a lot of characters that actually would counter him and would beat him. Cold Snap, we talked about this in the opening. Freezing enemy troops in place it's so triggering when that happens to you in PvP. I cannot express enough how when you're on your final push, you have your Warsong Raider head towards the base, your Tauren charging in towards the base, you have your Sneed in the back, everything's coming together, your Sappers, and all of a sudden, you see the Blizzard come down, and all your units, boom, they don't slow down, they don't die, they freeze in place, and then they slowly die. All right, it's the worst thing ever, and it rips through even the tankiest units, okay? Cold Snap, by far the best Blizzard talent. I'm not sure why it's been so scarcely in the store. Maybe they just saw how overpowered it is, and they're trying to make it much more limited. But if you can see Blizzard, if you happen to get Blizzard a bunch from your sigils, get that 2 uncommon and get Cold Snap on it. It's not a super big priority, but it's very, very nice. Alright, then we have Picklock and Deadly Poison for the 2 bandits. Now, bandits cost 1 gold. If you're using them in PvP, Picklock can be very, very valuable. If you can get those early chests, if you're, you're playing in the lower leagues and your bandits are getting to the chest all the time, you're getting 8 gold from it total. It's crazy, right? It's absolutely crazy. But for PvE and some for PvP, Deadly Poison is super broken. So I've seen bandits go through Huntresses from full life. Through the stuns and all the damage they do, a 1-cost unit taxing the opponent 5 gold, absolutely unbelievable. That's going to wrap it up for our Alliance minis. Let's head on over to the Horde. And here we go, starting with the Goblin Sappers. Rocket-powered turbo boots. Without this, I'm covering it right now, it makes your Goblin Sappers fast units. They move super fast. Without having this talent, the Goblin Sappers are nearly unusable in PvP and difficult to manage in PvE. When this character or these characters are moving at breakneck speeds, you could really sneak in a lot of damage. Just put in crazy amounts of work. There's a lot of synergy with other minis in these guys to make them go brr. So definitely 100% rocket power boots. A lot of people see you can get a 3rd sapper. Maybe it's a skill issue for me, but if I ever tried to put the 3 sappers out there, they're immediately going to get safe piloted. If I'm making them go super fast, I've had people whiff their attack, which that's a user error on them. But I've also had people have to deal with whatever I'm doing on the other side of the map. The sappers get through, half their tower is gone. All right, then we got the Tauren Charger Momentum. So after connecting a charge, immediately charge a 2nd time if possible. So she's basically doing a chain attack with her charges. So she will charge into an Ogre Mage, take half its life off, and then she'll charge past the Ogre Mage over to the Dark Spear Troll, instantly killing that character, right? So if you don't have this, she'll charge the Ogre Mage, she'll start hitting the Ogre Mage, but while she's doing that, that Dark Spear Troll is just trucking down through her, right? So the Momentum trait is overpowered on this character, definitely making it an S tier talent. Alright, the A tier, Big Bad Voodoo, regenerating 20% health every second, not every 5 seconds like it is for the dungeons and for your leader, when it's actually less than this, is 10 health every 5 seconds. Every second, 20% health. So he kind of becomes a single lane pusher. Like, they send harpies at him, he's going to solo them. They send a dragon, he's going to solo them. He's going to heal all the way back up. So this can be a very, very annoying talent. The reason it's not S tier is because he can still be one-shot by a safety pilot. He can still be instantly killed by flame-bursting whelps. I believe Arcane Torrent rips him apart after 2 of them. So he's still a very squishy unit if he's getting trucked immediately. The Warsong Raider, Sunder Armor. So damaging an armored enemy removes their armor. This works against bosses, alright? So enough said. In the PvE push, this works against bosses. In the dungeon push, this works against the bosses. It's very, very powerful and absolutely makes you just rip through their health. The Shaman, the Earth Shield. So grant armor to a nearby ally. Ability has 1 charge. So I like to throw down the Warsong Raider that I just talked about. I like to throw down the Earthbound Shaman right beside her. Boom, she's got the Earth Shield. She's going to run to a turret. She hits that turret 5-6 times. It's done. And with that armored trait that she now has, she can take a lot of hits. And if she runs into some other melee units they try and send against her, she'll solo them too, which is nice. Then we got the Ogre Mage. Now, the Ogre Mage, I think, is a no-brainer Frost Bolt. You're mostly going to use this guy in PvP. I tried to shoot him in PvE, but the Warsong Raider and the Tauren Charger just pull so far ahead when it comes to pushing objectives and eating attacks. I really wanted to make that Bloodlust work for me, but there was just other ways to get around nodes, cheesy methods, stuff like that. So he's mostly a PvP tune, in my opinion. Alright, the Undead, one of the most overpowered factions when it comes to composition. So we have the Banshee. I love Will of the Necropolis, alright? There's a couple of nodes, one in particular in Ungoro Crater. Shout out to Dinner from the chat. We were crafting through that node on the Heroic. It's one of the endgame nodes in the Heroic campaign. And Banshee can just steal one of the storyline characters. She can just steal this Zandalari Goblin, I believe. Or not Goblin, Zandalari Golem. And then it's yours, and it's super powerful. So it just runs over, and you're able to beat the node that way. So an amazing, amazing character. There's a lot of nodes where she can steal, like, the node-specific enemy, which is really, really cool. And otherwise, if she reaches a target or a tower, she will still go in that tower and she'll shred it with damage, which is nice. But Will of the Necropolis, it fully healing the target makes it that much more impactful. So how often, if you run Sylvanas, is she pegging away at some character? There's a Tauren Charger. She brought the Tauren Charger down to 20% life, and then the Banshee from the Sylvanas that just died takes over that Charger, and then you have a mostly dead unit. It's not a good exchange. So Will of the Necropolis definitely adds a lot of value to her. Cannonball on the Abomination. Abomination, all of his talents are really good. The only reason Cannonball is a little bit better is because of that stun. It lasts 5 seconds. That is that's an eternity. I think that's 2 gold worth of generation, where you can then bail him out with like a Holy Nova or a safe pilot, maybe throw in some whelps, whatever the case may be. You add some units to help him out, or he's saving your tower when you have some sort of some jerk is using the unbound PvP method on you, and you could drop your Abomination there. That would help a lot too, right? All right, the Meat Wagon, the Filet Trebuchet. I probably did not say that right. Increasing the range of the unit by +2. This is a great PvE tool that I haven't used, but I've watched people use. So what it will accomplish is your catapult will start hitting towers in other lanes. So if you send this in the left lane, it'll stop, recognize there's a tower in the right lane, and just take it down for you completely defenseless, which is just amazing. So I actually really do like this unit for PvE pushing. PvP, I don't know. I think the next character and Sappers kind of do this Meat Wagon's job, but better. So the Wind Buffet for the Gargoyle. Increase the movement speed by 30%. Otherwise, the Gargoyle just moves so slow. It'll get hit with some Harpies. It'll get hit with a safe pilot. There's just a lot of units that will end up ripping this Gargoyle apart. So if he's moving fast, he kind of outpaces them, which is really useful, and he'll make his way to the target. We got Exhume on the skeleton, so if deployed near a tower or meeting stone, deploy +2 additional skeletons. There is a Unbound Baron Rivendare Cancer deck in PvP. Super powerful. It immediately steals your other tower, and then Baron Rivendare is summoning extra of those frost skeletons, and then it does a second summon on top of your base, because this is a cheap unit. This is a +2 gold unit, and it can be used to steal chests and everything as well, right? And that's the exact same thing as the next one, the Corpse Run. This is for the Skeleton Squad. It starts with 3. Gain 1 level for each deployment after the first, maximum of 3 levels. This cannot be understated in PvP, okay? Levels in PvP are crazy important. So if all of a sudden, if you have level 10 of these Unbound units, and you're trucking your enemy's tower, that tower is going to melt, and they're going to have a hard time killing these skeletons, even though they are a squishy unit, all right? That's going to end it for the Undead characters. Heading on over to Blackrock. We might catch some flack here on the A tier, but we'll see how it goes. S tier, Pyroblast on the Pyromancer, whatever her name is. I've had, just like before, I was talking about with the Abomination, I've had my entire tower surrounded by a Maiev, Unbound. I'm talking like 8 units. I drop 1 Pyromancer, she throws her Pyroblast, so it triple damage on the initial hit. Like her first hit is a Pyroblast, and it kills everybody. It one-shot Maiev, it one-shot, well, it didn't one-shot, it did like 75% of the life on the Earth Elemental. It's so powerful. It'll also help you rip down gargoyles through the sky before they fly past you. It's a really, really nice trait. Her other traits, increasing the range, or I believe it is she sets people on fire when she dies. They're just not it, and she is a very cheap version of the Ogre Mage almost. So she doesn't do the Bloodlust, but she is a 3-cost AoE elemental damage character. Really, really powerful. Then we got the Whelplings, the Whelp Eggs, if you will. Flame Burst. Now, this is the best talent on them. The eggs getting taunt, very situational, could be okay. All the eggs hatching at once, not a super big fan of that. Flame Burst, damaging nearby enemies when hatching. This damage is probably going to get nerfed. So I don't know if this will still remain as valuable as it is. But if you drop this on a Huntress and you are 1 level higher than the Huntress, that Huntress dies. If you drop this on an Ogre Mage and you're 2 levels, it dies. But even if those characters don't die to the initial burst, the Whelps then, they do their Fire Breath and then it's over. Also, you drop these eggs into a big pack of minis. Absolute death all over the place. This is our other must-do talent. All right, then we got the Drake, Mother Drake, periodically summon a Whelp Egg. This is huge in PvE. There's a level, again, in Ungoro Crater where you're just fighting hordes and hordes and hordes of raptors. You send a Drake down the line, And not only is she clearing it when she's going her way, but she's dropping these whelp eggs. And then the second round of raptors, it dies to those eggs. Very impactful. I've used this talent almost 100% in PvP. I think PvE, heroic pushing content. I think the only deck I don't use this in is my Sneed deck. All right, A tier, we got the Earth Elemental. I kind of like Obsidian Shard, but I also like the one where he taunts. I think the taunty one is probably better for the Maiev deck in particular, but I'm giving the nod to Obsidian Shard because I prefer that for the PvE push, and I think the initial push of the game is going to be PvE oriented. I think you just get more rewards for it. I think the appetite for people is more in PvE, and it'll probably be more useful in the raids if we get to use this character. All right, the Fire Elemental. This is a high-cost tank, but if you put Immolation Aura on it, it will shred through almost anything. The Immolation Aura is a lot like the Tyrian Consecration, so if our Fire Elemental is getting hit on by a squad of like some tanky raptors, or maybe the Footman soldiers, this Immolation Aura does actually so much damage in conjunction with the AoE swing from the Fire Elemental. I've had great success using this talent. Again, I think I used it on the Raptor level, and it took about 3 waves of Raptors before my Fire Elemental went down. All right, then we got Band of Thieves on the Smoke Bomb. This is like purely PvP, okay? I've fallen in love with this really cheesy trick where I send my sappers out. You saw it earlier when I showed some footage there. I send my sappers out, and right before they're about to hit the tower, or if they're about to hit an enemy, I drop this on my sappers. They gain an additional level. So say I was locked behind level 1, well, now they're level 2. Locked behind level 3, now they're level 4. And like I said, levels in PvP are insane. So giving the sappers that extra level makes them, I think I only need to hit 5 sappers total on somebody's base to take it down. And I've done dozens and dozens of enemies I've beaten that way alone. All right, the Beast deck. You don't get too much use out of these guys, actually. It's kind of weird. But the Quillabore, I really like Bristleback. I was a huge fan of Tunnel Vision. I still am. I think they're so close together. But once you are pushing PvP, I think Bristleback takes over. And I don't think any of the talents on the Quillabore elevate him to the same degree the Safe Pilot and the Whelp Eggs get elevated by their talent. So Tunnel or Bristleback, I think they're both amazing. Tunnel might be better in PvE because it's instant, right? It's instant. But Bristleback does seem to pull ahead in PvP. If you drop this in like a squad, it does quite a bit of damage. Like chickens will kill themselves, stuff like that. All right, for the Harpies, I really like Infectious Swipes. I might be alone on this one. Gaining Poison adds so much damage. So again, in PvE, which is my main focus, I've seen these Harpies shred through storyline characters. I see they just rip apart the big Obsidian Golems. Wolves, they rip them apart. Warsong Raiders, Taurens, and the Poison makes it happen so much faster. I saw somebody else playing with the ability where they do extra damage on the first hit. I saw it was pretty useful. So it would help the Harpies one-shot something like an Ogre Mage, but somebody has to summon the Ogre Mage underneath your Harpies for that to happen. If the Ogre Mage is walking and your Harpies are walking towards it, the Ogre Mage is still going to get the first shot off and your Harpies get one shot. So I didn't find it too big of a selling point for me. All right, then we got the Wolf Predatory Instincts deal double damage to enemies who are at more than 75% life. In the PvE, this is super impactful because this will make the Wolf win trades against, again, the Huntress, against the Tauren Charger. This extra increased dash damage, whatever his opening ability is, trucks. So if it's double damage at units that are just clearly sent out, is really impactful. All right, A tier, Harpies, another one for the Harpies. Gain the minor trait, it increased the Harpies cost by 1, so they cost 4 gold instead of 3. This is mostly a PvP trait, but I've seen it be very useful because, I mean, you guys know, in PvP, your opponent is keeping as close an eye on your kobold as you are his. So kobolds basically get absolutely no gold if you're playing against somebody who is skilled. So adding the Harpies, having that trait helps out a lot. It gives you that additional option, right? Like you send your kobold, they put the safety pilot on it. Well, you can send your Harpies into the other gold mine, and the Harpies quickly farm that gold. All right, we got Golden Fleece. The polymorph ability on one sheep becomes golden. Killing it grants 1 gold. So this is very, very good because I think the polymorph also reduces their armor. And so what ends up happening is you could use this on like a big incoming offensive wave. And again, if something like harpies are charging there, or a wolf, or you follow the polymorph golden fleece along with a safety pilot, you'll wipe an entire wave, and then you get that 1 gold back, which is nice. The other polymorph traits, I think one of them is like stuns longer, but it heals the enemies to full. That's dumb. Don't do that. I know that's like a WoW shoutout. That's a really dumb talent. All right, on the prowl, gain stealth and stun the target when attacking from stealth. So this is, it's very close to even with Predatory Instincts. I would give the edge to on the prowl for PvP. Again, so a stun is huge as you get an extra attack in. If you're, say you got the wolf here along with a huntress, well now the wolf does a stun, the huntress is opening up with extra ambush damage. Wow, it's a killer combo, right? So wanted to give the nod there. The wolf will actually surprise you with how good it is. All right, then we got the Hogger's little brother. And we want to put Rabbit on this one. It reduces the deploy cost by 1, and it gains the cycle trait. This just allows you to put him into a cycle slot in an army. And it's really helpful in a Hogger deck or in a Beast deck where you're trying to find one of the useful beasts to throw in there. It helps you just cycle through and reach that, reach another Hogger, get another old Murkai out there. It helps you do that. And so it's just a valuable character for Beast. Not something you need to rush by any stretch of the imagination. Alright, so I alluded to it earlier. There's 2 characters in the game that you should rush to get rarity increased and to get a certain talent for them. And I just want to show you how valuable these characters are, at least to me. Take a look at my Safe Pilot and my Whelpling. They are in every single one of my decks without fail. Their impact on the PvE is insane. Now, Whelplings will fall off on PvP, but without that Flame Burst talent, they're just not doing their job well enough, right? Like, I'm not being sarcastic. I think every deck except for one, I believe it's the Sylvanas deck, I have both of them in. So, yeah, I just don't have, in the Baron Driven deck, because I'm farting around with this PvE or PvP part here. I literally have them every single place. Now, their talents are absolutely crucial. I've been really loving coming in hot, but again, I lived and died by the Gnomish cloaking device on my heroic campaign push. You really want to lean into that, 100,000%. And for the whelp eggs, it's not even close. It's so the rookery, when one egg hatches, the others hatch immediately. It doesn't really help you. Like if you're up against an ogre mage and he does that, he's gonna pop all the eggs anyway, and then he kills all your whelps. If you're up against a huntress, the exact same thing. She'll fire off 2 shots before the whelps even get near her because their range is awful. So the flame burst, when the initial damage from them hatching causes the enemy to take, 50, 60, 70% of their life off immediately, or kill a whole bunch of weaker squad minis that might be all grouped around, it's so much more impactful. Chromatic plating, eggs gain taunt. I can see where this is situationally okay. Like the dungeon right now, where we are facing off in Dire Maul. I can see it being really good there, but otherwise, it's just not great. Like, I've farted around with all of them. Flame Burst, 100,000% elevates his character to being basically a different mini. The functionality is just way different. Anyways, I just really wanted to hammer that home because I've had a lot of questions about talents in the Discord and in the Twitch and on the YouTube channels and everything like that. And a lot of people, when I did the dungeon guide, were like, hey, we need to see this without talents. I get you, and I was happy to do that. But the truth is, when you start pushing in the higher dungeons, you need to have talents, and you need to have the right talents. So I really hope this video caught you at the right time, helps you make more informed decisions. Hopefully the guides that we've been putting out have been helping you already. If they have, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I hope you like this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now. That's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Stay happy, healthy, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one.